Peace and love, family. Peace and love, family. TC, Spiritual Shepherd. Today, y'all, we're going to finish up part 3 of the private process. I know this was a little bit lengthy for you guys. I do have a lot to say on this topic, and I probably have even more to say than just these 30 minutes that I'll be releasing. But ultimately, y'all, there's a way to do things. If you want me to help you with the process, I could do that. I'm still going through the process myself, so my main thing is to go through the process and then start helping people who want to do similar things for a small fee, not even a crazy fee, but like $150 fee to be able to take them through the whole thing as a donation for me, giving you guys the time or putting in the time. And if I do that with each person and I do, 100 of those a year, or if I do 50 of those a year or whatever, that's still like a really easy thing. And those are donations. By the way, those are gifts. All right. So that's a non-taxable event. So one whole thing about this is, first of all, creating less taxable events, but also by not just creating less taxable events, but also if it's getting out of things that have to be taxed to begin with. So getting into things that are actually lawful standing. It's like, what is it? The IRS codes and everything, 5% of it has to do with like paying taxes. 95% of it has everything to do with like all the loopholes to get around ever having to pay taxes. Prove me wrong. All right? Prove me wrong. Prove me that taxes aren't voluntary. Prove it to me. Prove it that taxes are not voluntary. And you can revocate your election to pay those things, but you have to be in the right standing if you're going to be operating in the private, even if you live within, not within the United States as the corporation, because we're without the United States. What we're actually on is we're on top of America, the land that you can't take away, that you stole from Aboriginal indigenous beings. But we ain't talk about that yet, did we? See, we ain't talk about that yet, have we? Have we? We ain't never went down that rabbit hole. We ain't never done that, huh? We should probably talk about that. And we should think about, how could we actually, instead of us keep raping and pillaging commerce and commercial and all this different type of thing, how could we actually live with naturality, with nationality, with our naturality as beings who could be in communion with the land, like the Aboriginal and indigenous cultures and beings. Because when we start to live in peace like Jedis, when we stop demonizing people who like Haitians and different types of things like that, you don't even know it because you've never studied it, but you're still going to cast it out because you fear it, because you've been trained to fear it, because you ain't never studied it, and you were taught never to study it because the people who were teaching you told you that it was bad, so you never studied it. Tell me I'm wrong. Like, the thing is, I'm not saying that like everything that, no, I'm saying that but that is your power. But you were taught to never use your power. Ever. Like, don't ever use your power. Don't ever be as powerful as you can be. Like, dim your light. When you walk into a room, you better shut up. When you walk into a room, you better not be dressed nicely. You better not be looking handsome or fine. You better not be looking good. You better look, and I'm not, but this is where the crazy shit is. But you better look good enough. To where when you show up in there, you ain't embarrass me or embarrass my family or embarrass my friends or embarrass this party or embarrass this place or whatever. Don't embarrass nobody. Don't put anybody on eggshells. So there's all these types of things like this. There's all these types of things like this where you're starting to empower yourself to another level. Like, you see through people because you see through yourself. You see through all the lies you've told yourself, and you heal all those things too. And you're starting to heal those things too. And like some wounds are deeper and some wounds aren't. And so you just got to get to the fact to where you just start to see things like what you got to see the generational curses, bro. You got to see the generational curses and the way that people act. And you just got to be transparent with it and just be like, damn. Look, it says California Republic right there. And it says California Department of Water Resources. It does say California Department, but in nowhere, it might be a public thing. Might be public. But it also very well could be private. It very well could be private. Or there's something very similar to that company that could be private. All right, so anyways, I know I tend to jump topics, but yeah, California Republic, like people be sleeping. Because I operate on the land as a living man, all right, upon the soil, Sui Juris. Sui Juris is what I'm operating on. I'm not within the in legis, even though I have controlling interest over the in legis estate. The all caps name. The process of this is that we start to actually operate properly. So the first thing that you're going to do, some people come to me for the process. Some people come to me for spirituality or mindset or motivation or any of these different types of topics or whatever. But ultimately, as you start to do this, you start to actually empower yourself in the private, empower yourself in the gym. You start to empower yourself in how you operate, and you're doing a lot better. All right, you're doing a lot better.